Wua 2.8 is on the horizon. In fact, it drops tomorrow. And honestly, I have never seen the community so conflicted about a patch. On one side, you have a lot of people who are absolutely loving this patch, who are saying like this is like a really, really good patch, so many quality of life changes, so many different things. On the other side, we have a huge group of players who are also pretty disappointed with the patch. And honestly, it's a pretty confusing situation. I mean, why are so many people loving and hating the same patch? It just feels weird, right? So in order to understand what's exactly going on and why so many people are confused or frustrated with the Wua 2.8 patch, I think we need to first understand what's coming in the patch. And I don't want to waste too much of your time, let's be real. So we're going to be doing a very short, quick rundown of the interesting things that I feel like is coming in Wua 2.8. First of all, they are adding a huge amount of quality of life changes. Things like you can go ahead and collect all the echoes on the field at once. I don't know why this was not a thing in the game from when the game launched, but I'm really glad that it's finally here. And yeah, this will like save a ton of time. It's very, very annoying, especially with the new tacit field kind of mechanism that they have added in the game right now, where you have like 15 different echoes scattered everywhere. You need to go and collect all of them one by one. This is going to be really, really handy. Another really amazing quality of life feature they have added is now when you go to the character upgrade screen, you can just see what materials you want to upgrade that weapon or that character. You can see where you can get those materials. You can directly craft any ingredients if you need for upgrading. So this is like really, really handy. I know HSR does something like this similar, but other games don't really do this. I wish they did this, because as of right now, it was really a long process. You know, first find out which boss you need to hunt down, then go and hunt that boss. Then you see that you need to craft this. Then you go to the crafting menu, you go and craft that ingredient a few times. Then you come back to the character screen, then you go and upgrade. It was a long process, took a lot of clicks. Now it's just one unified screen, shows you everything. Really handy. They've also added an auto upgrade option. So in case you guys don't want to, you know, sit and research where all of this material is coming from and go ahead and manually select all of that stuff. You know, this is pretty good for beginners or for new people who don't really know which boss drops what materials, what drops what. I mean, the game tells you what, but if you don't want to use your brain, that is an option. Now you can just auto add everything. Now Wua will also show you recommended echo sets for every single character there is, and this is not gonna be like the weird shit they already showed you, you know, like recommended and all that stuff, the bot recommendation basically, which was not really the best for the character. This is going to be showing you real builds by real people. So whatever people are building on their characters, you can go ahead and check what echoes they're using, you know, what stats and everything is recommended. And I think this is really handy for, you know, people who are new to the game or people who just don't want to go ahead and, you know, start watching 15 different YouTube videos on how to build their character. This is definitely going to be saving a lot of time. They are also adding new elemental debuff reactions. Now, how much meta these reactions are going to be or how these reactions are going to affect the teams that we build, we have to see in the game, right? But as of right now, we know that elements in Wua, they don't really matter that much. I mean, people just go ahead, do Unga Bunga parry and just finish everything, right? So I'm good that they are focusing on elements, and I want the element system in this game to actually have more use than what it has right now, because as of right now, it's kind of weird, right? It does not really do much. It's good to see that they are focusing on the element system and they are improving the element system. So now the elements have more use rather than just adding Spectrofrazzle and buffing your character's damage. That's pretty nice. We cannot talk about the live stream without talking about Chisa, obviously, because Chisa is like such a good character design in my opinion. The character attacks and everything, they just look really, really cool. You know, she's got the whole scissor thing that's making all geometric shapes when you're attacking. It looks really insane. This character, you know what, Chisa reminds me a lot of how they used to design characters in PGR. PGR had the, you know, very technical attacks, you know, very technological, very sharp kind of attacks. The character that resembles the most from PGR in this game is probably going to be Shangli Yao. Okay, he also has kind of attacks like that, you know, how PGR characters attack. So we are getting Chisa. Chisa also has similar kind of attacks, and you know that schoolgirl design is like insanely popular among the Japanese audience for whatever reasons. I don't need to go ahead and tell you the reasons, but yeah, schoolgirl aesthetics really popular in Japan, and I can already see people are literally drooling over Chisa, and her character design and her ultimate are really good, right? People are calling this like absolute peak, which is understandable. Character design is really good. And we also got to talk about Buling. I mean, Buling was like one of the most hyped 4-star characters in the game. This game has a 4-star problem. Let's be real. We don't have that many 4-star characters in the game. So when they announce a 4-star character, it's like absolutely hype. And they really did a good job with Buling. I mean, when you compare her animations, it almost looks like she is a 5-star character. She's got the whole ninjutsu style going on with all her abilities and stuff. She's just making gang signs, bro. She's making ninja signs and all that stuff. Her ultimate looks really cool. And her character design in general, I think, is a really fan favorite 4-star character. Ever since she has made her appearance in the story, people have been wanting this character, and yeah, they're finally getting it. So another really good character they are adding to the patch. We're getting a new Zani skin. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I can get real clothes with this money. So now I'm not telling that Zani is bad, right? Zani is the queen, bro. Zani deserves her cosmetics. So if you are going to buy this skin, go ahead, man. But I can't personally buy new clothes for myself with that kind of money. So that's just me, bro. So yeah, the cosmetic definitely looks good. I think if you take a look at this sweater, I mean, I have seen this in Reddit and stuff. The sweater actually has like the woolen effect on it. So if you zoom on the sweater, you can actually see the fibers and particles and stuff. That's like insane details, to be honest, for a skin. But yeah, that kind of reminds me, why doesn't Wuba make more skins? They have so good concept arts for so many of these characters, but the skins, they are like dropping, once every 2-3 months. By this point, I think every single character in the game should have at least 2 or 3 skins. Let's be real, right? And that is my biggest complaint with Hoyoverse as well. They have so good concept designs for their characters, which they show in events, which they show in their cafes and all that stuff. But when you look at the game and look at the skins the characters are getting in game, they are so few. So, so I don't know what's the problem with these companies? Why don't they make more skins? Because they can literally print money with some of these skins. But I don't know why they don't do it. I hope they do more of it. All right. I hope that we get more skins. Also get a sneak peek at the new region. And honestly, the new region looks really cool. Okay, it's got the whole city mixed with nature vibes. I'm like absolutely loving it. It kind of gives me that Last of Us vibe. It's looking really, really nice. So yeah, lots of lights, but at the same time, lots of trees, lots of nature stuff going on inside the city. It looks like the city is deserted, but at the same time, there are many people in it. I really like this concept, and I'm loving the design of this region. Unfortunately, it's not gonna be a big region from what we know. It's gonna be like a small map, but this is also not a huge version upgrade, right? This is just a point version upgrade. So we are getting a whole new region in a point version upgrade. I think that in itself is pretty huge. So yeah, like what exactly happened? I mean, when I go ahead and look at all of these changes, all of these look positive. We have so many quality of life changes that players have been asking for many, many months. We got 2 really good characters. We are getting new elemental reactions. For a point patch, this looks like a lot of stuff. So why are people angry with 2.8 version? And there are a few reasons actually why people are annoyed, right? I think one of the biggest reasons why people are annoyed with 2.8 teaser is because it had no information whatsoever about the 3.0 version. Now we know that WUWA 3.0 is like insanely hyped, right? We know we are going to be getting a huge city. There are news like speculations that there's going to be a cyberpunk collab and all that stuff. Of course, that's all like speculation. There is no guarantee it's going to be true, but there is a huge amount of hype surrounding 3.0. So when they did this 2.8 teaser, a lot of people were actually expecting that, at least towards the end of the live stream, they are going to be teasing something from 3.0, maybe 3.0 characters, maybe the 3.0 region or the 3.0 story, how it will proceed. But unfortunately, this live stream just ends with no information whatsoever. They literally do not talk about 3.0 at all. And that, I think, ended up disappointing a lot of people, especially the people who have been waiting for the 3.0 Cyberpunk collab and all that stuff for like the longest time, right? I think those people were the most disappointed with this. And because 3.0 was so hyped and they did not show anything about 3.0 in this trailer, people have started calling 2.8 a filler patch, when clearly it's not a filler patch, right? You're getting a new region, you're getting new story, you're getting new characters and all that stuff. This is much more than a filler patch. I mean, you can call 2.7 a filler patch, but this is clearly not a filler patch. But the hype for 3.0 was just so much, and because they did not cover 3.0 at all, people got so disappointed, they started calling this a filler patch. This is basically what I'll call bad hype management from the Kuro team, right? Because if you are running a live service gacha game like this, a lot of your audience, a lot of your revenue is dependent on how much hype you can create in the community. And when you see that so many people are hyped about a new region, about your 3.0 version, you should have at least gone ahead and teased something, right? You got to maintain that hype. You got to keep the people interested in your game. So you have to give them bits of stuff that they are really looking for. And I think this is where Kuro kind of missed. They should have given at least maybe a 5-second teaser of 3.0. I think even that would be enough for people, but they completely ignored the community's cries and they did not show anything related to 3.0. I think that gives people like a really valid reason to be angry with Kuro. This is just a bad business call from their part. I mean, they could have capitalized on this hype. They could have gathered more audience for the game, but they just completely missed on it. Another thing that I think a lot of people are pissed about, and I am also not really happy about this, is that they are adding buling into the rerun banners. Now, we know that WUWA has a huge 4-star crisis, right? We don't have that many 4 stars in the game. We have more 5 stars than 4 stars. So when a 4-star character comes out, there is actually a lot of hype surrounding that 4-star character, especially if it's someone like Buling. Like Buling has got really cool animations. Buling is like absolutely a hyped character. From the moment she was revealed in the story, people have been her fan. So people were really disappointed when they added Buling into the rerun banners. Now, if you want to get Buling, you have to pull on banners of the old characters. Then yeah, you don't really have a choice, right? You're gonna have to miss out on this 4-star. People are calling this like a really predatory tactic, which in my opinion is kind of true, because you are releasing a 4-star character after such a long time. Why are you putting it into a banner of a character that you have already released previously? It's like Kuro is trying to milk money from these people and are trying to force people who want bullying to pull on old character banners. Now, I don't know what they were thinking, but honestly, I feel like if someone is more hyped about Buling than Chisa, this can probably go ahead and affect their sales for Chisa banner as well. What they could have done is they could have easily put Buling onto the Chisa banner, right? Everyone would be happy. I mean, people are excited about Chisa, they would have pulled for Buling as well on that process. Or they could have made Buling event specific character, like you do an event and you get Buling, at least one copy of Buling for free. I think people would have really appreciated that. But what they did here was like kind of a pretty greedy move. They put Buling into the old characters, and now if anybody wants her, they have to go and pull for the old characters, which I know a lot of people will not appreciate. So this was all in all really bad hype management and really bad monetization decisions on their part, to be honest. We know Kuro is not a greedy company, right? Kuro listens to players. Kuro has always been very grateful to players, and they have given a lot of free pulls, lots of freebies. But you know, this one decision on their part to add Buling into the second half, this has really pissed off a lot of people. I don't think this was something people were expecting from a company like Kuro. I mean, when you look at how generous they are, and I guess people were already so frustrated with 2.7 being one of the driest patches in WoWA history. When they saw stuff like this in the live stream, they probably got even more triggered. Let's be real. So now there are three groups of people out here talking about WoWA. One that is really happy with the QOL changes. One that is really glad that we are getting a lot of changes. We're getting a new region. We're getting new characters and all that stuff. One category of people who are absolutely annoyed with the monetization of Buling. They have now started calling Kuro a greedy company and all that stuff. You know, if you go ahead and check Reddit, there's a lot of hate surrounding it. Then there is a third group of people who are like, attached to the game, who care about the future of Wuthering Waves and Kuro, and they are kind of in a confused position right now because they are genuinely concerned about Kuro. If you take a look at the previous patches, it was not really that good for Kuro, right? 2.7 was probably one of the worst patches for Kuro. 2.6 had good story, but at the same time, when it comes to events, it did not really have that much as well. And for the past few months, people have been complaining about the lack of combat events. Suddenly in 2.8, Kuro goes ahead and puts like all combat events, right? A huge number of combat events. This makes you kind of question, like, does Kuro even know what they're doing? Or are they just blindly listening to whatever people are saying? For the past two patches, people complain about combat events, and suddenly in the next patch, you have all combat events. It's like Kuro did not really know what to do, and they just went ahead and listened to player feedback. It's good that they're listening to player feedback, but yeah, they probably did not have any idea what to do, and they just got bullied by the players at this point. So it feels like they're going through some sort of identity crisis where they don't really have clear plans of what to put in the game, and they're just looking at the community, they're seeing whatever people are complaining about, and they just go ahead and make a version update on it. If they actually had a plan surrounding all of this, what they should have done is they should have kept a balance between combat events and casual events, right? There are two types of players playing this game. There are casuals as well as combat focused players. So you cannot just make one patch that only has casual events and barely has combat events and then suddenly shift to a patch that has all combat events and barely any casual events. You are going to hurt the other side of the player base if you keep doing this. So they should have kept a mix, maybe like a 50-50 mix between combat events and casual events every patch. And they can do that if they have further planning, right? If they sit down, if they plan out what events they're going to be putting every single patch, then this is a pretty easy problem to tackle. But it looks like they did not really have a plan. They were going without any plan for the past few patches, and then they just saw people were complaining and they kind of got scared or bullied, I don't know. And suddenly now we have all combat events. And honestly, the people who are praising Kuro for putting combat events in this patch, I think it has something to do with psychology as well, right? When you look at the past few patches, there were literally no combat events. People were so desperate for a combat event. People were so starved for combat that now when they have added combat events into this new patch, people are just way too happy. They are really happy with the bare minimum. I think this should have already existed in the game, right? We should already be getting this number of combat events every single patch. But because there was nothing like this, people were so starved, they are literally biting at whatever bait Kuro has thrown at them. It feels like they are playing with the psychology of players. I know Kuro is probably not doing this because Kuro is one of the good developers out there that listens to player feedback, that is really generous with players. But when you make moves like this, it really creates a sort of suspicion in the minds of people, right? Especially people who have not followed your game for a long time, who don't really know how you are as a developer. If they see stuff like this for the first time, it's natural that they will have suspicions on like what sort of management is running your team, what sort of management is after your game. Summarize all of this, I don't think the hate was about this patch. Like, people are not hating the game or people are not hating the patch. In fact, I think people are now more confused or concerned about Kuro at this point, because this live stream showed us a side of Kuro that we probably have not seen before. On one hand, they are really listening to players, like they are taking feedback from players, they're adding quality of life, they are making whatever changes people want in the game. That people ask for combat events, they just go ahead and push a lot of combat events. It looks like they are paying very close attention to whatever people are saying. But on the other hand, this also looks like Kuro is going through an identity crisis. It does not really know what to do with the game, and it's constantly being bullied by the player base to do whatever the players want them to do. It's like they don't have have a clear plan of what to do with the game, what to do in the next patch, how to progress with the game. And the community just bullies them into creating a new version, into creating a new patch. And the next version is just Kuro addressing the complaints of players in the previous patch. Also, it shows that Kuro is still lacking kind of when it comes to business management, when it comes to marketing, hype marketing specifically, because 3.0 was such a hype patch, right? They could have really marketed their game in a really good way, because looking at games like Ananta coming out, people are really excited about having cities and stuff in games, and we know 3.0 is going to be a city, right? So they could have managed that hype really well. They could have excited players a bit more, right? They could have brought back old players, but the hype marketing is just non-existent. What do you guys think of this situation? Do you think that people who are hating on this patch, their hate is justified, or do you think that Kuro Games just cooked another really good patch? Honestly, I have mixed thoughts about this patch, right? I'm really happy with the new design of the region. I'm really happy with the design of Chisa and all that stuff. On the other hand, I'm also not a fan of how they manage buling. I don't really care a lot about 3.0. I mean, I know it's going to be a good patch, so whether they show it to me or not, I don't really care. I know I'm going to be playing that patch anyway. Let me know your thoughts down in the description. What do you guys think of 2.8? Are you guys happy or are you guys disappointed with this live stream? And I'll see you guys in the next one.